Today, we're diving into the pretty incredible story of a university that went from a campus in Islamabad, Pakistan, all the way into orbit around the moon. Yep, you heard that right. This is the story of the Institute of Space Technology, or IST for short.
It's a question that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, doesn't it? I mean, how does a university, one that's just a little over 2 decades old, manage to build and send a piece of tech to circle the moon? Well, the answer is, honestly, it's as inspiring as it is impressive. Okay, so here's how they did it. ICUBE-Q. Now, a CubeSat, if you're not familiar, is this tiny, standardized box-shaped satellite, often used for research. So, in May of 2024, IST teamed up with China's Shanghai Jiaotong University. They piggybacked this little satellite on the Chinese Chang'e 6 lunar mission. And this wasn't just some test flight, no way. This was Pakistan's first ever lunar mission. And get this, it was a huge success. ICUBE-Q got into lunar orbit and started sending pictures back home. Think about that. A university literally put its own camera in orbit around the moon. Wild.
But, an achievement like this doesn't just happen overnight, not even close. To really understand how they pulled this off, we've got to rewind the clock and see where IST even came from. Let's get into their origin story.
So the Institute of Space Technology kicked off back in 2002. And it wasn't just any university, it was founded directly under the umbrella of SUPARCO, which is Pakistan's national space agency. So its mission was crystal clear from day one: become the go-to place for aerospace engineering, astronautics, basically the whole space science shebang. It was absolutely built with a purpose.
And this timeline right here just lays it all out perfectly. Just over a decade after they were founded, bam, 2013, they launched ICUBE-1. That was Pakistan's very first CubeSat, and it went into Earth's orbit. That was the critical first step, right? It proved they could do it, and that success set the stage for something way more ambitious. About a decade later, ICUBE-Q. It's such a clear, focused journey from low Earth orbit straight to the moon. So, who's actually powering this incredible journey? It's the students. And the scale here is pretty staggering. IST is home to almost 4,000 students. You've got thousands of undergrads learning the fundamentals, and then hundreds of postgrads and doctoral candidates who are pushing the absolute boundaries of research. So this isn't some small niche place. It's a serious academic engine built specifically to train the next generation of space scientists and engineers.
So, here's the crucial question. How do you actually train that many students to, shoot for the moon? Well, you build a world-class engine room, a solid foundation of tough academics and really cutting-edge research.
Now, what's really fascinating here is just the sheer variety of what you can study. It's not just about building rockets. You need the full spectrum of expertise, right? Everything from avionics and material science to AI and data science. And they offer these programs at bachelor's, master's, and PhD levels, which creates this incredibly deep pool of talent. This is the kind of ecosystem you have to build something as complex as a lunar satellite.
And all that theory and book smarts gets put into practice right here in these specialized labs. The Space Systems Lab, well, that's where the actual satellite hardware comes together. But missions like ICUBE-Q also lean super heavily on the AI and computer vision lab to, process those images from the moon. And the cybersecurity lab makes sure that data is transmitted safely. This is really where the magic happens, where all these different fields come together to create real spacefaring technology. But look, building rockets and satellites isn't everything. A great school is also about the people, the community, the culture that it creates. So let's take a quick peek at what life is actually like on campus at IST.
A perfect example is the IST Youth Carnival. This is this huge annual event that brings in students from universities all over for competitions in everything from drama and filmmaking to music. It's all about building well-rounded people, not just brilliant engineers.
And they don't just keep this passion for space to themselves. Every year during World Space Week, IST students go out into local schools and communities to share why space tech is so important. They're not just learning about space, they're becoming ambassadors for it. And to top it all off, they host their own TEDx events. Now, that tells you something, right? It shows there's this deep culture of sharing big ideas, sparking innovation, and just generally thinking big, which is exactly the mindset you need when your goal is the final frontier. So when you put all these different pieces together, the history, the tough academics, the hands-on research, and that vibrant community, a really clear picture starts to form. So what's the big takeaway from all of this?
It really boils down to their official motto, exploring the final frontier. And that's not just some catchy marketing slogan. It's really the core of their entire mission. From launching that first little CubeSat to sending a mission to the moon, IST has proven time and again that they're committed to pushing boundaries and exploring what's out there.
And that just leaves us with one final and really exciting question. They've reached Earth's orbit, and now they've reached the moon. So what frontier will they explore next? And that's a question not just for IST, but for Pakistan's entire space program. Thanks for watching.